Tonight, mass casualty event, numerous injuries as a car crashes through a brick wall and into a fitness class at Sherwood Forest Mall.
The room exploded and everything flew, glass, bricks from the wall.
Plus, safe supply suspicions.
This has been an issue in London. It's been an issue in Windsor.
Concerns from Sarnia's mayor over a program that he says hands out drugs with limited oversight. And the first smart beach warning system in Canada is unveiled at Kincardine Beach.
CTV News with Lauren Stallone.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight in West London, where a vehicle slammed through the wall of a Good Life Fitness early Friday morning. 7 people were injured, including one with critical injuries. Jerry Dewan has more on the investigation into the incident.
Witnesses say a group of about 30 women were starting a new fitness class at the Sherwood Forest Mall Good Life Fitness when a Jeep Wrangler came crashing through the wall. Bernice Bishop was in that class.
The room exploded and everything flew, glass, bricks from the wall. And then we all looked around and there's a vehicle inside the building. And it hit some of the gals from the class.
One of those classmates was trapped under the vehicle. Police say the 7 injured included the driver. One person is in critical condition, another in serious condition, and 5 others in fair condition. Bishop is hoping her injured classmates are able to fully recover.
Our prayers go with them as they recover, you know. So, but why someone did that, I have no idea.
Ma Hyun operates a nail salon inside Sherwood Forest Mall. She arrived at the mall around 7:30, and as she was walking from her car, noticed a woman in a blue Jeep talking on her cell phone. The woman was parked about 50 meters from the wall.
When we park my car there, we walk about here, and I hear she go straight the building.
Yeah. She's going fast.
Yeah, she goes really fast.
London Police Chief Tai Trong held a news conference in the afternoon. When asked about whether there was intent, he only said,
So what I can confirm with you is that we have evidence and we have information that the vehicle accelerated into the building.
One social media post showed Good Life staff and other concerned citizens giving aid to the victims as first responders arrived. Those first responders are being credited for their quick actions on what was already a very busy morning.
We actually have had a couple incidents in the city that are draining our resources. So to see the response and the support from the law enforcement and our medical emergency people, amazing.
London Fire helped to secure the wall. The vehicle remained inside Good Life as the investigation was ongoing. They'll then have to devise a way to remove the Wrangler. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
Meanwhile, London police responded to a 2-vehicle collision in the area of Warncliffe Road South and Euclid Thursday afternoon. Police say one of the vehicles struck a house. They say the occupants of the vehicle were transported to hospital with minor injuries, and the occupant of the house was not injured. The investigation remains ongoing. Concerns are being raised about the delivery of safer supply drugs through for-profit virtual appointments. Critics say the current model leads to opioids being dispersed into the wider community. As CTV's Brian Bicknell reports, they're asking the provincial government for more oversight of the program.
Dangerous opioids are hitting the streets of Sarnia, and they're coming from outlets that provide safer supply drugs to patients through virtual appointments. That's according to Mayor Mike Bradley.
From what I'm hearing from the professionals is people receiving whatever they receive under the Safer Supply program and then deciding to redistribute that and in turn create issues in the communities where it is actually increasing the illegal activities.
Bradley has written to Health Minister Sylvia Jones asking that the ministry review the delivery model. He writes, high volumes of hydromorphone are being dispensed following virtual assessments with limited oversight.
This has been an issue in London. It's been an issue in Windsor.
London North Centre MPP Terence Kernahan is also raising concerns, saying the delivery model favors for-profit health providers.
When we look at these pharmaceutical kiosks, there is really little care for longitudinal care. There's little care for recovery. This is a privatized for-profit model that we see the Ontario government has really turned a blind eye to.
The regulating body that oversees safer supply recently came up with new policies on this. The Ontario College of Physicians and Surgeons says doctors must now conduct an in-person assessment before initiating safer supply with a patient. They must also see that patient in person every 3 months. London City Councillor David Ferreira, who has also sounded the alarm over safer supply, says it's a positive change, but doesn't go far enough.
I think it should always be in person, because that will really slow things down, and that will kind of completely reduce or inhibit the profit side of this operation, the way it's kind of structured currently. But that in-person clinical assessment and reassessment every 3 months is a big step forward.
Meantime, the Ministry of Health issued a statement in response to Mayor Bradley's concerns. It says in part, to be absolutely clear, our government does not and will never support the distribution of tools to use illegal drugs, including the predatory prescribing of addictive drugs that violates a physician's obligations. The statement went on to tout the government's investments in wraparound supports, including the Heart Hub in Lambton County, the province's abstinence-based recovery model. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Good evening. I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. Cold front has swept into the lower Great Lakes. Ridge high pressure has cleared things out for the most part. Fair weather cloud in place, but there's a disturbance well to our west. That could bring some showers for the weekend. I think we're quiet tonight, a bit breezy, but Saturday afternoon for the city of London and parts of the Midwest could see some thunderstorm activity, and Sunday's likely cooler and gray, potentially wet as well. That's how things are shaping up. I'll send it back to you at the desk. Lauren?
Thanks, Gary. A year ago, London and Middlesex community housing faced criticism after an assessment rated the overall condition of its 31 buildings as poor. However, as Daryl Newcomb reports, the plan to repair and upgrade its portfolio of public housing is producing noticeable results.
If you're in a mobility device.
A tour of a recently vacated apartment inside the London and Middlesex community housing building on Kent Street shows the potential.
To have the ability to spend $29 million to catch up on capital infrastructure to invest in site improvements is moving the asset forward.
Currently in poor condition.
A year ago, City Council learned that of 31 LMCH buildings, only 7 were evaluated to be in fair condition, the remainder rated as poor or very poor. At the time, LMCH acknowledged the challenges it faced, but also added those results were not up to date.
Fast forward to this year, we are up to date with our data on what work has been done in the buildings, and we're completing new building condition assessments to figure out what is the capital need of each building.
2 buildings that were part of a pilot program have experienced significant improvements. Kent Street slashed its facility condition index from over 17% down to 4.3%, moving its condition rating from poor to good. Repairs to Dorchester Road dropped its FCI from 33% to 7.6, moving from very poor condition to fair. And a recent report to the LMCH board predicts, quote, a reasonable expectation that LMCH's next asset management plan update will show significant positive increase in building condition ratings across LMCH's portfolio. Improving building conditions requires balancing priorities between the building's exterior, internal systems like elevators and boilers, and the individual units themselves.
The unit can be all pristine, but if there's no electricity or no water going to it, or the elevator isn't working, or the roof is leaking, that sort of is not serving the need of the building.
Each unit is evaluated upon vacancy and necessary repairs and updates are made, even as larger scale projects are tapping into funding from senior levels of government and City Hall. An updated condition assessment of LMCH's entire building portfolio will be completed later this year, so the agency can accurately determine its long-term funding needs.
All our housing should be in a good state of repair, and that is the objective, and our funding request will mirror that.
Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
An audit of City Hall's Climate Emergency Action Plan has concluded London will not meet its 2030 carbon emission reductions.
I wasn't surprised. I don't think that we've been doing enough to achieve the Climate Emergency Action Plan and the targets and actions that we've set aside for ourselves.
In 2019, Council declared a climate emergency and later approved a plan to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. However, an auditor found the action plan simply describes what is already happening and doesn't shape priorities. It acknowledges that Ontario's reliance on natural gas for electricity generation isn't helping, but Councillor Frank also points to recent budget decisions at City Hall.
I think a lot of it is to do with budget and resourcing. So staff asked for about $45 million over 4 years to fully implement the Climate Emergency Action Plan. And at first we gave them about $1 million a year, and then through our budget deliberations, that's been cut down to $182,000 a year.
We're learning more tonight about the Toronto police officer who was shot and killed during the execution of a search warrant yesterday. CTV's Beth McDonnell reports.
Forensic investigators with Toronto Police and the Special Investigations Unit combed the scene inside the North York residential tower. One day after 43-year-old Toronto Police Constable Mark Pinizzato was shot and killed in the line of duty. On Facebook, his mother Linda writing in a post, "Mark is one of my extraordinary sons, our hero," calling him an incredible father, son, husband, coach, and friend of many. His devastating passing, the cruel heartbreak of reality, has brought us to our knees. He idolized our whole family. Our Mark was a dedicated ETF police officer who worked relentlessly, determined to safeguard us around the clock. Mark is our beacon of hope, guiding us with his message to bring an end to violence. Beyond his job as a highly skilled officer, an 18-year veteran of the service, the father of 14-year-old twins was also an accomplished hockey player who played professionally in Europe and, over the past decade, was heavily involved in teaching young people the sport. The Oakville Rangers Hockey Club writing on its website, the organization is mourning the loss of a remarkable man who meant so much to so many, adding, "For the young athletes he coached, Mark was someone they looked up to, trusted, and learned from. He cared deeply about every player and was committed to helping them grow not only as athletes, but as people. He invested his time freely, shared his knowledge, and led with kindness, patience, and integrity. The example he set will remain with his players for the rest of their lives." Early Thursday morning, Pinizzato took part in a raid executing a search warrant on Martha Eaton Way near Black Creek and Trethewey Drives. The SIU says when he entered a fourth-floor unit, a suspect shot him before another officer fired back at the suspect multiple times. He is still in hospital in critical condition, and police say 19-year-old Nicholas Bennett will be charged with first-degree murder. Police are looking for another suspect, 19-year-old Zara Jabi. Officers have linked him to the larger investigation that brought officers to the building, which they say is connected to the shooting at the U.S. consulate. Destin Bujang with the Black Creek Youth Initiative says he works with families who recognize Jabi.
He's a 19-year-old in the community like any other 19-year-old. He's a normal young man who rides a bicycle and plays with his friends. They say we went to school with him. We have seen him around, and it's scary if your classmate that you went to school with was on the headlines.
He says condolences go out to Pinizzato's colleagues and loved ones. Bujang also says it's important to ask how the community got to this point because there is a huge gap in access to resources and opportunities. Since the raid, he says people here are experiencing a range of emotions, from fear to sadness and confusion. And the priority now is to make sure young people feel seen and have trauma-sensitive spaces to express themselves. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
To St. Thomas now, where the Crown has wrapped its case at the murder trial of David Yates. As Nick Pepperella reports, the court heard more evidence today surrounding the relationship between the victim and the accused.
As the murder trial in St. Thomas moves along, more evidence is coming out about the turbulent relationship between 22-year-old Caitlin Jennings and her one-time boyfriend, 53-year-old David Yates. The court has heard that in the months before her lifeless body was found at 562 Kingsway Avenue in West London in July of 2023, Jennings had been charged with assaulting Yates. And just weeks before the killing in May of 2023, London Police Constable Christine Silcox showed up to the home due to another disturbance. She testified that at the time she couldn't determine who was the aggressor. The officer ended up charging Jennings for breaching her conditions. Under cross-examination from defense lawyer Cassandra DeMello, the officer was asked about an interaction she had with the accused. He said she loses her mind, correct? And Constable Silcox replied, yes. Just weeks after that incident, Officer Silcox would once again show up to the home on Kingsway Avenue. But this time, she would find the badly beaten body of Caitlin Jennings on the living room floor. The court has heard she died from multiple blunt force trauma injuries. Yates would be arrested at the home and has pled not guilty to a charge of second-degree murder. With the Crown's evidence now in, DeMello is expected to give an opening address on Monday before the defense starts its case. In St. Thomas, Nick Paparella, CTV News.
The Thames Valley District School Board is slashing almost 36 jobs at the end of the school year. CUPE has been notified that 31 designated early childhood educator and care for newcomer children positions will be eliminated at the end of the month. The board points to lower kindergarten enrollment for September and changes in federal funding as the reason for the cuts. Those who lost loved ones to the waters of Lake Huron are applauding a first-of-its-kind beach safety warning system unveiled today in Kincardine. Scott Miller reports.
Canada's first traffic light beach safety system is finally operational at Kincardines Station Beach. It's a real-time warning system that very well could have saved Graham Hancock's brother's life. Michael Hancock drowned 18 years ago in the waters off Kincardines shores trying to save his daughter.
He managed to save her, but it got the better of him. So any initiative that can make the public safer and help improve the safety of the beach is a big deal for me and my family.
Aleem Ramji drowned in Kincardine in 2020, pulling his nieces from the waters of Lake Huron before succumbing himself. His family was at today's beach light unveiling.
Bystanders heard. They came, they were able to throw the buoy out to the girls. The girls were able to come back onto the pier. She watched my nephew take his last breath.
In total, 6 people have drowned and 7 more have almost drowned off Kincardines shores since 2008. In response, Kincardine has created no swim zones near their south pier and added safety equipment. The installation of Canada's first smart beach warning light today is really the centerpiece, though. It's a system that uses predictive modeling powered by both historical and real-time wind and wave strength data. It automatically changes traffic lights located at the entrance to Kincardines Beach to let beachgoers know if it's wise to enter the water or not.
It is a symbol that is used in every town and city across Canada and the world. Red, yellow, and green. Stop, warning, or you're good to go.
No manual intervention at all. There's no person that is changing the light from red to yellow to green. This is all going to be automated now. So being able to respond immediately as the weather changes, the light will change.
Kincardines Smart Beach Light is now fully operational, and other communities along the shoreline are investigating installing a similar beach warning system. Even some communities on the other side of Canada.
You know, with my council in Nova Scotia, this is what I'm promoting as well. Trying to, that if Kincardine can do this, we could do this at Peggy's Cove. We've lost a lot of lives at Peggy's Cove.
Along with the unveiling of the traffic light beach warning system, Kincardine unveiled 2 memorial benches to honor the 6 beach visitors who lost their lives in the town's waters since 2008.
People have drowned in Kincardine and lost their lives, and so a big part of what we're doing here today is to make sure that that never happens again. We don't want another family to have to leave here without a family member.
In Kincardine, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Coming up, Mark Carney meets with Canada's allies ahead of the G7 summit. Plus, Canada hit the pitch today, why the World Cup game is a game changer for Canada.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvlondon.ca, your home for news.
Prime Minister Mark Carney arrived in Paris early this morning to meet with the French president rather. It was a crucial meeting ahead of the G7 next week, hosted by France. CTV's Mike Licatour reports.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and President Emmanuel Macron were looking for areas of agreement ahead of the G7 summit in France. As Carney moves Canada closer to the European Union, the two leaders agreed to more collaboration on artificial intelligence and safe social media.
I would like to commend you, President Macron, for the decisive action that you are taking to protect children online.
And the two leaders agreed to do more on intelligence sharing. They're also both using strong language when describing the geopolitical instability.
Nous constatons que l'ordre international est fragmenté.
We note that the international world order is fragmented, says Macron, an echo of Carney's speech in Davos, where the Prime Minister called on middle powers to work together as the world's hegemonies become more aggressive. Now, Canadian officials who briefed reporters ahead of the G7 summit warned it could be difficult to get consensus on issues like a critical mineral value chain or government intervention against online harms.
The presence of Donald Trump is something that always leads to possible controversies. Will people get actual FaceTime, including our Prime Minister, with Donald Trump?
Now, Carney and Trump will have some FaceTime, but it's unclear if it'll be a full sit-down meeting. While getting a consensus could be difficult among the seven leaders, Carney doesn't think the group is fracturing.
I mean, there'll be some issues where there are strongly held views by one of the G7 partners that, are more extreme than others. And I'm not saying just one. I mean, each of us may have examples of that.
In French, Prime Minister Carney was even more specific, saying he doesn't believe it'll turn into the G6 plus the U.S., a statement that could be tested at next week's Leaders Summit in the French Alps. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Paris.
Today is history in the making for Team Canada and the country. Whatever happens in this tournament, it is the first time playing a World Cup game on home soil and a first time hosting the World. And a frustrating start for Canada. The opening match ended in a 1-1 tie with Bosnia-Herzegovina. CTV's Adrian Gabriel now on why this World Cup is a game changer for Canada.
Canada! Canada!
Brimming with national pride, nations united, allegiances divided. Fans have arrived by the thousands. These two fields full of dreams, separated by more than 4,000 kilometers, have the power to unite a people. A soccer awakening is afoot. The World Cup is here, and Canada has been thrust under the spotlight of the global game.
It is the biggest sport in the world. It's bigger than the Olympic Games.
The most coveted tournament on the planet has touched down in the true north, strong and free. The significance is seismic.
To be present and to be in the moment.
Canadian Soccer Hall of Fame inductee Amy Walsh appeared in 2 Women's World Cups. She believes this is an opportunity for the entire country to put its best foot forward.
To show that Canada is diverse, not only in its people, and that it's unique and we're friendly and we're welcoming, but we're also tough and we're hard to play against.
Soccer is simply the most popular sport on the planet. The world is tuning in. Toronto is expecting at least 300,000 visitors to arrive from outside the city. More than 350,000 are expected to travel to Vancouver.
So many people visiting, traveling, and watching on the TV sets. They're going to see a brand new country that they just haven't seen before.
A tournament of this magnitude is already daring the country's youth to reach for the sky.
I hope Canada does well, so then that means the kids know that when we get on, we can do the exact same.
You've given your life to soccer. You played for Canada on 102 occasions. Results aside, what do you hope the takeaway is from this World Cup for Canada?
It's really about who we are and what our identity is as Canadians and how that's tied to sport. It's the trickle-down effect from it. So what it means for the next generations, that somebody else aspires to do that one day.
The beautiful game has landed. Canada has opened its door once again to the world. Soccer fans here and footy fanatics around the world have now set their sights on this tournament, including the 13 matches that will grace the pitch right here on Canadian soil. The hope is that the legacy will last a lifetime. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
And just a programming note, our CTV London late news will be following the game tonight. Gary joins me now. Gary, it's a comfortable temperature out there and the sun is shining.
You're right. beautiful conditions. Good evening, Lauren. Good evening, folks. A great night to be out on the patio, perhaps, right? Sipping a beverage, having a nice little appetizer, dinner, and things start to break down for the weekend. Although today was warm and comfortable for the most part across the region. Windier tomorrow. There is sunshine in the forecast, but I think there's also a slight risk of seeing some thunderstorm activity and then straight out rain showers as we progress from late Saturday into Sunday. High of 25, just a degree above seasonal. We'll take that. Temperatures in the low 20s across much of southern Ontario proper. And humidex values, instead of 35 to 42, which we experienced several days ago, we're looking at mid to upper 20s along the 401 corridor, stretching from Windsor through Chatham-Kent, London, Kitchener, Waterloo, towards Toronto, and the rest of the GTA and Golden Horseshoe. The winds will pick up, as mentioned, through the overnight. I'm anticipating westerlies, say about 40 with gusts in the 60s tomorrow morning at times, especially through the Midwestern tier. Cold front has swept showers and thunderstorms well to our east, pushing through the mid-Atlantic states, Quebec, the Maritimes, eventually Newfoundland, Labrador, and we are in the clear tonight. So that's some good news. But rain will be coming from the west. The westerlies dominate tomorrow, as mentioned, especially in the morning. Those showers through upper Michigan hit Wyerton, Owen Sound, Tobermory, Southampton, the eastern shores of Lake Huron, further inland towards Mount Forest. Our friends in the region will likely see anywhere from about 10 to 20 millimeters of rainfall as we head towards, say, 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon onward. For London tonight and to begin early tomorrow morning, it's quiet. Sunshine through to dusk, clear through 10 p.m. And note the temperature is comfortable from 22 down to 17 as we go from 8 p.m. through to midnight tomorrow morning. The 7-day forecast, warm tomorrow, 3 degrees above seasonal, 28 at peaks around 4 p.m. Saturday afternoon feels like about 31, 32. The UV index is high. There is a slight chance of some thunder shower activity later in the evening. Sunday's wetter and cooler, and certainly gray. From 28, we're down to 23, and then low to mid-20s from Monday, starting off sunny, through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Showers Tuesday to Friday are likely intermittently, and that will be the story for the Midwest, although I think there's even a higher chance, closer to about 60 to 70% chance of showers, about a 40% chance of seeing thunderstorm activity Saturday afternoon. Sunday's cooler. We'll go from 27 Saturday to 22, and then 19 on a sunny Monday. Tuesday through to Friday, Lauren, we're looking at low 20s, maybe even upper teens, and cloudy with rain, a dominant feature.
Coming up on CTV News, why the government recommends not using a third party when applying for a Nexus card.
Coming up on the iHeartRadio Pure Country Countdown this weekend, we find out how country music might be responsible for an NBA championship. Plus, we get our first sneak peek at the next country music movie. Join me for all the details Saturday at 9, Sunday at 4.
Stats Canada says Canadian households are continuing to fall further behind, with debt growing faster than income for the 6th straight quarter. Seasonally adjusted household borrowing, which includes consumer credit, mortgages, and other loans, totaled $35.5 billion in the first quarter, up slightly from $34.5 billion in the last quarter of 2025. The increase comes as mortgage borrowing slowed, with gains in consumer credit and other non-mortgage debt helping to offset the drop. The The federal government has announced a national food security strategy aimed at giving Canadians more access to locally produced fruits, vegetables, and other fresh items at lower prices. The plan is intended to change the way food is bought, sold, transported, and distributed. The government says the strategy will be backed by more than $3 billion in investment over the next 10 years. It includes $1 billion for infrastructure, including food terminals and hubs, to help independent grocers compete with large retailers by making it easier for them to buy from farmers and food processors. About 2 million Canadians have a Nexus card, which makes it faster and easier to cross back and forth into the United States. You don't have to apply for a Nexus card, but if you do, you need to be careful how and where you get one. Here's Pat Foran.
If you're a frequent traveler to the U.S., a Nexus card can help you bypass long lineups at the airport and crossing the border. Pauline Saunders of Angus decided she wanted to get a Nexus card to save time while traveling. She went online to start the process.
I knew I wanted this pass, and then I saw an advertisement on Google, so I hit it.
A company said it could help her apply for a Nexus card, and she agreed to pay their fee of almost $600 US. But months later, she had still not received a Nexus card, and she was told an additional payment of $120 US was required.
I didn't want to pay another $120 because what else are they going to take from me?
Saunders used the services of a third-party company called Nexus Pass Online, Inc. A spokesperson told CTV News, Nexus Pass Online is a private application assistance service. Our value is saving time, reducing mistakes, so the process is clear and stress-free. This fee covers document review and readiness for submission. It does not include the government's filing fee. The company said it needed Saunders to pay the additional $120 US to finish the application, which she declined.
It's just not okay. I'm so angry and upset about it.
The Canada Border Services Agency says using a third party will not speed up the process and could even cause delays or denials in getting a Nexus card. A spokesperson said you do not need a third party to complete your Nexus application. The fee for a 5-year Nexus membership is $120 US. You can go directly to the Government of Canada's website to apply, renew, or replace a Nexus card. Saunders says she's frustrated after paying more than $800 Canadian that she'll have to start the process all over again. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index was up on strength in a base metal and financial sectors. In Toronto, the TSX gained 266, and in New York, the Dow added 354, while the Nasdaq is up 79. The Canadian dollar gained almost 1/10 cent, and on commodity markets, gold is up almost $125 an ounce, but oil fell $2.83 a barrel. When CTV News continues, what the Trump administration wants before it will allow the Gordie Howe Bridge to open. Political leaders on both sides of the Detroit River are calling for answers after the opening of the Gordie Howe International Bridge was delayed this week. Speculation is growing over whether the crossing has become caught up in broader Canada-U.S. negotiations. CTV's Chris Campbell reports.
The Gordie Howe International Bridge may still be closed, but the relationship between Windsor and Detroit remains open.
It's about partnership. It's about a friendship between America and Canada.
The gathering at Rock Bottom Bar and Grill comes one day after Michigan House Speaker Matt Hall suggested a new agreement should give the United States and Michigan an immediate share of toll money and greater control over new bridge operations.
I'm hopeful that you'll see a deal that has more balance in the board makeup, that ensures that the United States and Michigan can get toll revenue right away, 50-50.
But Michigan State Senator Erica Geis says reopening that deal would be a mistake.
It would be a slap in the face to all the people, all the organizations who worked on bringing this project to fruition.
No official explanation has been provided for the latest delay. Even Geis, who chairs the Michigan Senate Transportation Committee, says she has little more information than the public.
I have the same information that everyone else in the general public has, which is very little. Anything that has been published is the information that we have.
Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkins believes Canada should resist any pressure to alter the agreement simply to get the bridge open.
It's more than just a symbolic connection between two cities. It's also a strong economic connection. And the day the Gordie Howe Bridge opens, it will be the most technologically advanced border crossing between the United States and Canada. It will be the most friction-free border crossing, which is great news for all businesses in our regional economy.
Former Windsor West MP Brian Massey says every day the crossing sits idle costs taxpayers while delaying toll revenues needed to help pay for the multi-billion-dollar project.
If it is entirely political, then say it. If it's something different, then do it and fix it. But don't treat us like children.
Despite the uncertainty, leaders on both sides of the border insist the bridge's long-term importance hasn't changed.
Politics will be politics. There are cycles, there are people that will come and go in politics, but what we do as a community is come together, and we come together with our American neighbors to overcome those obstacles.
Chris Campbell, CTV News.
A 21-year-old man is facing several weapons charges after police say firearms were being made in a Mount Bridges home. Strathroy Caradoc police received a tip late last month. The suspect gave officers a partially assembled 3D printed rifle and some ammunition. A search warrant was executed and the suspect was arrested. He's since been released by the courts with conditions. Quebec has become the first province in Canada to regulate the sale of energy drinks, banning the products for anyone under 16.
A younger person is going to be more sensitive to the effects of caffeine. And you add on top of that some kids are also taking medications for ADHD. The combination of stimulants with caffeine can prove fatal.
The decision comes following the death of a 15-year-old in 2024 after drinking Red Bull while on ADHD medication. Under the new rules, sellers will have to ask for photo ID when selling the high-caffeine energy drinks. The final whistle may have blown on Canada's World Cup match, but the excitement is just getting started. In one Windsor neighborhood, soccer fans are proudly displaying their support in different ways. CTV's Bob Belichico has more.
Welcome to World Cup fever, which has gripped the Underwood home in Forest Glade.
A little, over-exaggerated, but it's perfect. It works out.
My kids say a little bit too much. I think they put a stop when I wanted to decorate the cat, so.
As you walk up to the Underwood door, you'll be greeted by England royalty, Harry Kane. Originally from the UK, Underwood wanted to decorate her home to help bring people together amid the turmoil around the world.
It's just so much fun. All the different nationalities, we all get together. Yes, we fight, we argue, but you know, when it comes to football, best time.
She has the flags of all of the teams competing in the World Cup in a window planter.
As the game progresses, the flags, unfortunately, are going to come out one by one.
Underwood has the tournament schedule on her garage, group stage until June 27th. She even put in the scores from yesterday's games. There are also flags surrounding the house and cool little trinkets, too. Underwood says she's going to change the car flags when Canada is playing, which could become a problem later in the tournament.
I'll just take it off, put another one on.
But if Canada and England meet, she's going to support England.
I'm going to have to drive 2 cars. Eduardo's going to come with me.
Eduardo is a neighbor from across the street.
This is like a kind of a no-no, but gotta love thy neighbor.
A big Portugal fan with Portuguese genes, he and his twin brother Mario appreciate what Underwood has done to her home.
It's nice to find people that have that same level of commitment and love for the game.
The trio proudly display their allegiance with flags on their cars.
When you're going down the road, sometimes you'll hear a honk. You don't know if it's a honk like, we love you, or we don't want to see you here.
Portugal has never won the World Cup. England won it back in 1966. Laughter arises when I refer to the familiar England slogan, "It's coming home."
I refuse to say that right now.
I'll say it. Portugal's bringing it home.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
Monday, 102-year-old World War II veteran from London is acknowledged for his bravery and service with an honorary doctorate of law. That's Monday at 6 on CTV News.
Let's look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thanks to Tucker Pennington for this great image. Supercell development, really nasty convective showers and thunderstorm activity. This shot near Bayfield, Ontario. Expect a mostly clear overnight period, a mixture of sun and cloud, breezy conditions for Monday, Saturday morning. The afternoon, though, a different story. Could we see scenes just like this? There's about a 60% chance of showers and maybe even some thunderstorm or convective activity. Let's look at your weather for this weekend.
A Hamilton man who was charged following a W5 investigation has pleaded guilty to 21 charges, admitting to raping and drugging women and recording and sharing videos of the assaults. CTV's Judy Trin has the details.
Busted! Brian Hayward was arrested at a Tim Hortons drive-thru in Hamilton, Ontario in May 2025. A CTV W5 investigation revealed he was part of a global network of predators who drugged their unsuspecting wives and girlfriends, raped them, then uploaded the videos to the internet. This week in court, more than a year after his arrest, Hayward pled guilty to 21 offenses related to 7 women. He was convicted on multiple counts of sexual assault, surreptitiously recording victims and sharing intimate images.
It brings a little bit of accountability and a little sense of justice to see that the legal system is working for these survivors right now. But for survivors, we know that healing isn't linear, and that we know that healing is a long journey.
Hayward's ex-wife, Chelsea Davis, watched the court proceedings over Zoom and gave this statement to CTV News. I feel relieved knowing that some of these women will be spared having to testify and relive what happened to them in a courtroom. No guilty plea can undo the harm that was done, but hearing those admissions matters. Hayward was initially charged with 60 offenses related to 14 women. Some of those charges have been dropped. Others have yet to be prosecuted. Hayward is also accused of working with another Hamilton man to assault women, and he's also facing a sexual assault charge in Calgary dating back to 2015. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
A day after Canada Post announced plans to shift almost 500,000 Canadians from door-to-door delivery to community mailboxes, the Union of Postal Workers has delivered their concerns with the plan. The union points out that community mailboxes won't help the corporation compete with private carriers who deliver door-to-door. The union also says the cuts will create barriers for seniors and people with disabilities. The change will impact 37 communities and is expected to happen in 2027. Elon Musk is officially the world's first trillionaire as he shares his rocket company SpaceX. It will take flight with the largest initial public offering on record.
I give SpaceX less than a 10% chance of succeeding at all, to be clear. In fact, I told people this. I said, look, we're probably going to fail, but we should give it a try, because if we don't, if there's not a new company that enters space, we will never be a truly spacefaring civilization.
Musk celebrated the milestone by remotely ringing the NASDAQ opening bell along with SpaceX employees in Texas and New York. The CEO owns more than 40% of the company, which analysts valued at nearly $2 trillion US even before they surged past their launch price.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A developing story now from City Hall where
download the CTV News app.
An app created by cyclists in Waterloo region is picking up speed. The creators say it's helping people across the country to find their way around with cycling-specific routes. CTV's Spencer Turcotte reports.
In 2023, Cycling Guide was still just a pilot designed to help Waterloo Region cyclists find safer routes. Now the app is out and it's full speed ahead.
There's a marker there. We're on Caroline Street.
Cycling Guide attracts users looking for a less stressful way to get around on 2 wheels.
What our app does is we optimize our routes based on levels of traffic stress you can expect to encounter.
The app analyzes roads, trails, and bike lanes, then recommends routes based on how comfortable they are for cyclists. A separated bike lane or multi-use trail ranks low on the stress scale. Busy arterial roads rank much higher.
We use OpenStreetMap data, which is like Wikipedia for mapping data, which means it's maintained by people around the world, including here in Waterloo Region and including us.
Since the original launch, the app has added new features aimed at first-time riders, including cycling tips and information about secure places to park your bike.
That's the City of Kitchener's bike check at Victoria Park.
With fuel costs climbing and Waterloo Region expected to reach 1 million residents by 2050, advocates say cycling will need to play a larger role in the transportation network.
There isn't room on the roads for 1 million people to be driving around in cars.
The app's creators believe helping people feel safer on a bike could be part of the solution, and not just in Waterloo Region. It has expanded to Ottawa, Halifax, Sarnia, and Saskatoon, with communities like London now beta testing the platform.
The app is free, and it always will be free.
But most importantly, the app's inventors feel the goal isn't to reinvent the wheel. It's to help people use their wheels more safely. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Waterloo.
That's our time tonight. Before we go, a programming note. We will have live FIFA coverage tonight on CTV News. We look forward to joining you once the final game has ended. You can stay up to date on all our top stories by heading to our website, ctvnewslondon.ca. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.